Welcome to Day 1 Ionian. The Ionian is the first mode of the major scale. So first, play a C major 9. You can also just play a plain old C major, but I do encourage you to check out this chord diagram there. So every mode has an associated chord. We only use the mode over that type of chord. So the C Ionian mode is used in the key of C, and it's used over C major chords, specifically C major 7 chords, and you can add extensions such as the 9. So for each of these modes, as we progress through days 1 to 7, I'm going to get you to play the chord first because the sound of the chord is the same sound of the mode, and it's really important that you, as an improvising or composing musician, are in touch with the sound of each mode. It's not about shapes, although we will be learning some shapes. It's mostly about hearing and feeling the sound of that mode and knowing when to use it. So step 1 in learning the mode is to play 1 octave. Here we go. I'm going to play it 3 more times. Use the notation there to play along with me, and feel free to pause the video. It's really, really important that you take the time to get comfortable with this, and don't be afraid of playing it really slowly. That's the point here, is to play it slow and hear each note. Here we go, 3 more times. Play with me. Last time. Root, 2nd, major 3rd, 4th, 5th, major 6th, major 7th, root. So before moving on, make sure you can play C major ascending and descending in 1 octave, and really take it slowly. It's not about speed at this point. Now step 2 is to name the scale degrees of each note. So every mode has 7 notes, and each of these notes we give a number, and that number is in reference to the interval between the note and the root. So these are the same intervals which you learned in the introduction video to 7 modes in 7 days. I'm going to go over all the intervals now in C Ionian. Root. So this is just the root note of our mode and of our chord. This is the 2nd. And if we play it here on an open string, we can play the 2nd and the root at the same time. And we can hear how dissonant that sounds. This is the root and the 2nd. Next is the major 3rd. And the major 3rd gives the mode and the chord that happy sound. Instead of a minor 3rd, it's a major 3rd. So as we progress through each of these scale degrees, we're hearing and feeling the sound of each interval in relation to the root note of the mode, because these scale degrees define the sound of this mode. So major 3rd. The perfect 4th. This note is the suspended 4th and is a key scale degree in the Ionian mode. You can also play it up here to play a C sus to a C. It's a very common sound in pop music and jazz. Next is the perfect 5th, also known as a power 5th. Major 6th. So this is not a flat 6, which you'll learn is used in other modes. This is a major 6th interval, which is a more happy 6th. This is where we get our 6th chord from, C6. And lastly, the major 7th. So this, again, isn't a flat 7th, which is used in a dominant mode, such as the Mixolydian. This is a major 7th, which you'll notice is the same major 7th, which we learnt in our original major 9th chord. So now I'm going to play through each of the scale degrees in tandem with the root note. Play along with me, and feel free to pause the video to make sure you can really play this figure with me. Here we go. Root, 2nd, major 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, major 6th, major 7th, root, and again, root, major 2nd, major step 2 is to play that figure and be able to say the names of each scale degree. And you can memorize that pretty quickly because in step 3, we're going to actually sing the scale degrees. So step 3, you don't have to be a singer. Trust me, I'm not a good singer. But the idea is for musicians, we don't want to rely on our fingers when we're learning modes. We want to be able to hear each mode, and the best way to learn and to practice hearing is by singing, because we're vocalizing it. And it doesn't have to be perfectly in tune. Don't worry, we're not trying to be singers. This is just a private practice technique which is taught in colleges throughout the world, and it's a very common technique used by professional musicians, and that's singing what you play. So I'm going to sing this through 4 times. Do it along with me. Root, second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major 6, major 7, root, and again, root, major second. And if you find that you're singing the wrong note, you can stop, major second, and just make sure you are singing the same note which you're playing. Major second, major third, perfect fourth, 5th, 6th, 7, root. Let's descend. Root, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So really do commit to practicing this and singing this scale. This stuff might seem easy, but it's really fundamental skill, and it is used by thousands of students who study at colleges, and it's taught by a lot of professional educators. Singing is a key skill for learning modes. So now we're on to step 4. This is mapping out a full scale diagram, and this is more of a visual muscle memory thing rather than a hearing thing. So far we've been focusing on slowly learning the scale, 1 octave. We've learnt the names of the scale degrees, and we've sung the scale degrees. Now we're just going to get used to a shape of 1 position of C Ionian. This is coming from the A shape here. If you know the cage system, here's a scale diagram. I'm going to play through it once, but feel free to pause the video and just map it out, playing 1 note at a time. So the only way to learn this scale diagram is to slowly work it out and just get used to that visual nature of it on paper, but then also quickly you want to get rid of the piece of paper and be able to visually see the pattern on your fretboard. And this is something that we all just kind of have to dive in and do. And maybe you do already know the scale diagram if you've learned the cage system, and we have a great masterclass on that if you haven't checked it out. But really spend some time now. First of all, just do it slowly, no metronome. Then what you want to do is do alternate picking, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Then you want to do different patterns and sequences. It doesn't really matter what way you do it, and I do recommend checking out our workout series where I will be prescribing you some patterns and sequences to work your way through each mode and really build that muscle memory. So for now, just make sure you can visualize it, you can see it, you can play it slowly up and down, and then at about 60 beats per minute, just practice it a few times and do this for at least 20 to 30 minutes today, because the foundation which you'll build now with the Ionian mode is going to apply to tomorrow's mode, which is Lydian, because there's only 1 note different between tomorrow's mode and today's mode. So it's really, really important that you map out the scale. And again, make sure you can play it 1 octave and sing it before you move to this mapping out step. So the final step is to improvise with the modes. So we're going to use this mapped out scale here from low to high. We can see it. We've played it through a few times. Now, what I want you to do is to get a jam track and just start making music. All notes are right, there's no wrong notes, and it's just about creating phrases and exploring ways through the mode and getting used to the tension or consonants of each note. For example, maybe that major 7th, you really get to know that tension. You'll explore things like how the 4th resolves to the 3rd. And this is both in a chordal context and in an improvisational context. The thing about modes is that they are a chord and also a scale at the same time. So anything that you learnt chordally, whether that's resolving the fourth to the third, can be used in a lick or in an improvisational context. For example, this lick uses the perfect fourth to the third. And that's really my final tip, is to keep relating the mode back to the chords. So we're all around this position here, which is the A position from the cage system. And so just keep remembering what the note is, third, second, root, seventh, sixth, because that's going to set you up in a good position to learn our other modes. So congrats on making it through the Ionian day. I know it's been a lot of information, but again, it's all about starting slow, hearing it, playing it, mapping it out, and then moving to step 5, which is improvising with the mode over the jam track. So make sure you do your homework today, because that's going to pay off big time tomorrow when we move to the Lydian mode. So I'll see you there to finish up with here's me improvising on the Ionian mode. See you tomorrow.